What's up, guys? This is Matt, and welcome back to my Dwarf Fortress series, Part 6. The last video was a bit short, and we set up some bedrooms, and I started digging out areas for a dining room, and I never got around to finishing it in that episode. However, I have been playing a little bit off-screen. Let me unpause the game, and I'm going to go down a couple levels, and I'm going to show you what we did. Actually, first of all, you'll see that the staircase for the farm plots, or next to the farm plots, was finally finished. So this will take us all the way down to the level where I plan to put a food stockpile. And this is the dining room that was being dug out during the last episode, as well as places for all of the food production workshops. So our kitchen, butcher, fishery, and some stills. I like to build 2 stills, very similar to building 2 mason shops, just because it's used quite often and it's very important. So I always have 2. They might not both get used right at the beginning if you don't have 2 dwarves that can brew stuff, but later on, once you get migration waves, or if you turn on the labors for brewing. So first things first. I also, if we go up a level or a couple levels, I dug out some nice large rooms and placed stockpiles. As you can see, one is for finished goods and the other one is for furniture. So furniture will be tables, chairs, beds, chests, cabinets, anything you could think of will go in furniture. And then finished goods, most of the finished goods products will be things from the Craft Dwarfs workshop, arts and crafts, instruments, mugs, a lot of things that we will sell to trade caravans once they start arriving. I already showed you the access for the farms. Oh, and look at that. While I'm recording, some migrants have arrived. That usually pauses the game. And that's all I had written down to explain anyway. So let's talk about migrants. Now, as you remember, we started out with only 7 dwarves. Migrants will begin arriving once your fort prospers. Now, I believe that there are 2 definite waves right at the beginning of certain seasons, and then beyond that, waves just appear as your fort is prospering. So let's unpause the game. Let's watch these guys. You'll see head in. They're going to be coming from off screen. I see a couple children here. I can't even tell. Well, if you remember, I brought up the status screen a couple episodes ago with the Z button, and let's bring that up, and that'll tell us our population. It looks like in that wave we got 6 dwarves because we started with 7. Just basic math that Matt could actually do for once. And I guess that was it. So I'm never gonna find my fortress, am I? Let's hit the F1 hotkey. There we go. And those migrants will come in since they don't have beds, and they will hang out in the meeting area, which is our dining room as well, because when I set up this dining room, I also hit H to set it as a meeting hall. And a meeting hall allows me to remove this zone that was here, if you remember correctly, that was a meeting area. Although I don't know why there's a dwarf hanging out there. Okay, now, in the last episode, you saw me set up a farm plot, not some, but nothing's growing yet, and I will show you why. Very much like building at a workshop, you need to set building tasks for the farm plot. So we're going to hit the letter Q and go over to the farm plot. Now, this was a little confusing to me at first. It might not be to you. These are the different types of plants that you can grow. These are the 4 seasons. The one highlighted is the season it is right now, so you can set plants. So we need to set plants to grow in all 4 seasons. Just to start us off, we're just going to grow plum helmets. We brought plenty of seeds of plum helmets along with us, and they'll make alcohol. And I think they grow the easiest, and they can grow all year long. So this farm plot, all 4 seasons, is going to produce plump helmets. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the plus and minus keys, and I'm going to go down to plump helmets, and I'm going to hit enter, and you'll see it's highlighted now. Okay? But that was for B, summer. So real quick, let's hit A to bring us to spring. And you'll see that the options change a little bit, such as sweet pods can only grow in the spring and summer. And once you go to the autumn, they're not an option anymore. So under spring, let's go down and we're going to select plump helmets again. Press C for autumn. You could also, instead of going down, you could go up. Doesn't matter. Or, sorry, up with the minus key. And let's go D for winter, and let's select plump helmets. So now if I go through really quick, we're going to hit A, B, C, D. You'll see that plump helmets was highlighted in all of them. You can now hit escape, and hopefully, and you know, when he's ready, whoever has growing enabled will come up here and he'll start figuring out this farm plot. Now, something I do quite often is I'll set up a stockpile. Let's do that right now. Just a small, maybe 2x3. And sorry, it's not supposed to be animals. I want this to be a food stockpile. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit Q, and we're going to go in and change the settings. And we're going to go into food. And I don't see what... Here we go. Seeds. Now that's all we want. So we're going to go through and we're going to hit... Oh, whoops. We're going to enable food. We're going to go through and we're going to hit F for forbid. And we're going to forbid meat and fish. And we're going to forbid everything but seeds. Okay. And let's come over here to our original stockpile. And we could put food in there. So let's disable seeds. That way they move all the seeds. We're going to forbid seeds from this one. That way they move all the seeds into this pile. And once we build a food stockpile downstairs, we'll do the same thing. We'll disable seeds. That way all the seeds that we have will be stored right next to the farm plots, because we're going to build other farm plots in this area as well. And he needs plump helmet spawn. I could have sworn that we had plump helmet spawn. I'm sorry. If you hit Z for status, it brings up this screen again. I've come to this a couple times. This will tell you what you have in your fort. Food stores, how many seeds, how many drinks. And it'll give you your population. And you can adjust what's allowed to be cooked, which I believe we already did because we disabled eggs. That way we can hatch some birds. Well, if you go over to stocks, you can go down and you should be able to see what you have. And if we go to seeds, maybe, I don't know. It doesn't say what kind we have. Weapons, it tells us what kinds we have. Seeds is not telling us, so I guess we don't have plump helmet seeds. I thought we brought some with us. I'm zooming out on accident again. I'm just going to tape the scroll wheel on my mouse closed or whatever. That way I can't move. All right. Also, while I'm thinking about it, let's designate some more trees to be chopped down because we're going to need more beds now that we have more migrants. So let's get a nice big square. That's a lot of trees. That should keep us busy for a little while. And I think this would be a good time to show you a utility that comes with the Lazy Noob Pack. This is the only utility I really use from the Lazy Noob Pack, and it's called Dwarf Therapist. So if you pull up the Lazy Noob Pack, if you go over to the Utilities tab, and you go to Dwarf Therapist, Run Program. Now, Dwarf Therapist will show you all of the dwarves in your fort. So right now it is grouped by migration wave. So 0 is the 7 dwarves that I started with, and then wave 1 are the ones we just got. This will tell you their names, and these are all of the labors in this game. Now there is a way to do this in game. There is a way to change jobs, but I think it's stupid. I don't like how it's done. I can never remember how to do it. So I just use Dwarf Therapist to change jobs. Now, you remember at the beginning of the game, we gave each of our dwarves skills. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the only job that they can do. But you'll see that our miners, they have been mining, and they started out with skills. So they have a nice big white square. Now, the bigger the white square in the middle, the higher their level is. You'll see that their level is 10. This guy, this mason, his level is only 6. However, any blue square, so even the blue square under this white one, that means that they're allowed to do that job. It doesn't tell you how good how good the quality is going to be, but they're allowed to do it. So what we're going to do is, it looks like none of these of this second wave, or the first wave that we got, it doesn't look like anybody has any jobs except for someone that can do some stone detailing. However, I remember seeing a couple were children. So let's come up here, let's group, or we could even just hover the mouse over here. Yeah, this person is a child. This is a peasant, so he can be doing some work. We have another child, another child, another child, and an engraver. Okay, so we really only got 2 workers out of that wave. Let's, instead of having this by migration wave, let's group it by profession. So let's see what we have. We have 4 children, and they can't do anything. It doesn't matter. You can't assign them any type of labors. However, the peasant that we just got, we can, and peasants normally don't have anything. So if I was to highlight this, we look down, they don't have any jobs to do. Everybody by default has all of this hauling. They can all move stuff. So let's give this guy something to do. Well, right now I have no fisherman. So let's have him fish. He could do some fishing, some fish cleaning, and some fish dissections. So all I did was click those 3 boxes, and then I'm going to come over here and hit commit changes, or I could come up here and hit commit pending changes. Either way we'll do it. You'll see here the changes. I'm going to hit commit, and it'll disappear. But now next to peasant, those are all filled in. We do have a farmer. As you can see right here, we have a butcher. We do have 1 brewer as of right now. We could always get more later once these children grow up. I don't remember how long they grow up. I know it takes a couple years before they could become a working citizen dwarf. So we're going to have to wait on those. But we do have stone detailer now, which is nice. We can now smooth stone in the bedrooms and in the dining room, as well as engrave the stone, and that'll just give the dwarves happy thoughts. It'll also bring up the value of a room or a dining room. And certain dwarves want more valuable things, especially in the next video I plan on telling you about nobles. And nobles will sometimes have certain demands. They'll want a certain quality bedroom, and you'll need to add furniture to that and usually smooth the walls and engrave it to bring the value up to their liking. Now let's we did this, so we'll just minimize this for now. We'll leave it open because we'll come back to it, because it'll also show us the happiness on a sliding scale from green being happy to red being not happy. But we'll leave that up there for now. And the other thing I wanted to do specifically in this episode was build a couple workshops down here. So we're going to hit build, and we're going to hit workshops, W, and the first thing, let's build a kitchen. So I see kitchen is the letter Z, and we'll make the kitchen, I suppose, right here. Why not? And we'll make it out of, let's go down to stone, because we have a lot of stone now, or chalk. So I hit the minus key twice, or you can go down with the plus key and hit enter. So that'll be our kitchen. While we're here, let's also build a fishery. Now that we have fishermen, dwarves won't eat raw fish, so we need that to be processed. So we'll build a fishery here, hit enter, and we'll do the same thing, go down to chalk. And let's build a butcher. If I see it, I'm looking at the screen. Oh, here we go. The letter U, so I'll hit U for butcher shop, and we'll place it in this last one. I don't remember, I think it was in the Dwarf Fortress wiki, it said that the butcher shop needs a door, because otherwise it will create unhappy thoughts for the dwarves. So you kind of put a door to keep whatever smells or whatever's coming from the butcher shop inside. So I kind of set it up so that they all have doors, that way it all looks, uniform. So that's the layout that I had done here. So we'll put that there, and then even though we have one brewer right now, we're going to build 2 stills because we're just planning ahead. So the letter L, and we'll press enter and chalk, and then we'll hit L again and we'll build one more. Won't be useful right now, but later on it will. And let's hit P for stockpiles and F for food, and let's build the stockpile, and we'll go right over the stairs, won't we? No, we won't. Hit X. Not that it really, I don't think it matters, but we'll, whoops, what am I doing? Okay. And they're bringing stuff in, and let's, like I said, we're going to hit Q over the stockpile. We're going to hit S for change settings, down to food, go over, and let's disable seeds. That way they're only bringing them up by the farm plots. Now, all the food will be stored here. Here's our dining room, so it's not too far of a journey for them to get food. It's also not too far for these workshops, for the kitchen to go grab food to make meals, or for the stills to go grab the plants to make alcohol. So that should be a good setup there. Also, while we're at it, let's build some beds. So I'm going to hit Q and go over to the carpenter's workshop, and we're just going to actually, we'll just keep an eye on it. Let's hit R for repeat, and we'll just get a bunch of beds being made. And I suppose, do I have any doors? I don't have any doors. Do I have any beds? No. Okay, so I can't fill up this room. That's fine. I'm going to be getting to that in a second anyway. I built the 4 main food production buildings, and it looks like some of them are done. The still's done. In the next video, we will start talking about nobles, and I'll give you a little peek of that right now. We hit the letter N for nobles, and there are some jobs in our fortress that we can assign to dwarves. So the expedition leader comes default. It's whoever you gave leadership points to before you embarked. And then we have a militia commander, which will allow you to set up a military, a sheriff, which will set up a police force later on, because there will be crimes, and then you can set up a jail for the bad dwarves to make them, carry out their sentences. Hammer would be the judge. Manager is my personal favorite noble, so I will definitely be setting him up next time, and I will show you a lot of I'll show you what you could do with him, why he's my favorite. He brings up a manager tab that allows you to build things without going to the workshop associated with them. So instead of going to a mason's workshop to build a stone table, I can pull up the manager tab and I could just type in rock table and then tell him how many to build, up to 30 at a time. So the manager is really useful for just throwing out large build orders, and especially later on once the fortress gets bigger, the manager is really, really handy. The broker will tell you how much you have worth in your fortress, and the bookkeeper will actually keep tabs on the status screen and will tell you how many seeds, how much food you have, and the better his skill is, the more accurate those numbers will be. So we'll do some setup of those in the next episode, and I'm gonna leave this running. I'm not gonna pause it before I end the video. However, I don't plan to do anything, so you see everything now, and as soon as the next video kicks up, we're gonna start on the noble screens. So I want to thank you guys for watching. This was part 6 of my Dwarf Fortress series. Leave a like, or some criticism for me. Leave a comment, and I will see you next time.